Hi guys, Casey Talk TV here. Sorry that I haven't been updating in terms of the video schedule as much as I would like to. The main reason why is because I've been doing a lot of university work that still needs to be submitted, as well as a lot of home renovation works, which I've been kind of putting off. But luckily, because it's the lockdown now, I can actually start doing them. But anyway, hopefully that's kind of going to be over and done within the next few weeks, and I can then start putting forward a lot of the videos which I've been sort of postponing. But also, hopefully the lockdown should ease a lot more over the coming months or so, and therefore I can actually go and do a lot of the road trip videos that I've been kind of desperately wanting to do until the lockdown occurred, as well as a couple range sort of testing that I would like to do for the summer months. Anyway, by the way, I am wearing the MG Owners Club attire. Thank you so much for James Coates for arranging everything and actually getting it sent out to me, especially during the lockdown period. I know it's quite difficult to get a lot of t-shirts posted, general stuff posted. A lot of the stuff that I've been ordering has been delayed for at least a week or so. So thank you so much, James, for sorting it out. Anyway, let's get started. So today's video is going to be looking at a smart charging board developed and built by Bill Burgess. So what is smart charging? Smart charging is basically when the price per kilowatt hour or CO2 emissions are lower, you can take advantage of it because your charger can actually regulate the charge going to your car. Effectively, what happens is that in practice, you set a time for your car to be either mostly fully charged or fully charged, and you always have a full battery by the time you set off before that time, and that means you can take advantage of the financial and environmental costs associated by charging at times when it's cheaper or when CO2 emissions are lower. So in December 2019, so about a week after I actually picked up my car, MG actually called me back and asked the car to come in for a software update to fix smart charging. Now, this smart charging fix effectively fixes the problem with the granny cable, but it didn't actually fix any of the ones to the home chargers. The home chargers themselves needed to actually be updated in order for it to work. This included the Rolec supply charger. For a bit more context, if you were the first 1,000 people to order a ZS EV, you would have actually, alongside the discount on the list price, you would also get a free supplied Rolec home charger. The PodPoint chargers, the ohm cable, or the Zappy, which I think are the most popular. So at the time, they needed to actually work on a software fix for their chargers in order for it to work. This becomes quite a big problem, really, because actually the ohm cable, as far as I'm aware, got fixed as early as, February, and the Zappy actually got fixed not long after that. So that basically left the Rolec charger, which, bear in mind, MG did supply to 1,000 customers basically for free, not being able to have a proper charging fix. So what would happen is, at the moment, what they've done is they've done effectively a bodge fix. So this is where the charger will send 6 amps to the car. This equates to around 1.6 kilowatt. So in the screenshot here, you will see that actually because it's in half an hour increments, it actually puts in 0.8 kilowatt hours into the car until it reaches that off-peak or smart charging, applicable charging, and then ramp up the charge right to the full rate that both the charger and the car can take, which in my opinion is still not a reasonable method of charging. The fact of the matter is for example, if you plugged it in at 4 p.m, for context as well, I'm now on the new Agile Octopus tariff, which makes smart charging even more of a concern than it ever was. But if I plugged it in at 4 p.m. at the maximum price of Agile, which is 35p a kilowatt hour, it would use 4.8 kilowatt hours and then cost me nearly £1.80, which would effectively decimate any smart charging savings that I would actually have at all. However, if I then charge during the smart charging times and at most during the night it's about 6.5p a kilowatt hour, it would only cost me about 30p. And in fact, actually, if you are a Octopus Energy customer and I'm on the Go tariff, it would only cost you about 25p to do that same 4.85 kilowatt hours. But Rolec have been still working on this fix since December 19. Obviously, I completely understand at the moment, with the COVID-19 lockdown, that it would have caused significant disruption to a lot of the development. But it should be fairly reasonably straightforward, because after I started talking about the aftermarket board that Bill Burgess developed, actually, if they were able to fix it via software means, at least, it probably would have been fixed by now. But anyway, let's go on with talking about the modified board. So just a quick disclaimer before we start talking about the installation. Of course, I'm not an expert in any of this. Whatever you do is basically at your own risk. You will have to open up your Rolec home charger wall unit, which means you've 100% voided the warranty. Well, I'm sure that you've probably voided your warranty. Also, please make sure that if you are going to do this, you do isolate the wall box from the mains, regardless of whatever you're touching. In my case, I'll probably put a couple photos here, but there is a distribution board, and in fact there was a separate box installed by Rolec. Just make sure you pull both of them to off before you start, and then use, you know, a voltage detector just to make sure that it is definitely 100% off. Anyway, so the board made by, as I said before, Bill Burgess, is basically a small board that is hardwired into your wall box, and it controls the pilot line from the charger into your car. A very important aspect of this is the fact that it isn't mains voltage controlled or controlled. That's quite useful for me because I'm really not comfortable messing around with mains electrics, really. But as well, there is actually another option that other people have sought for doing this, which is using a smart RCD inside their consumer unit or distribution board box. And this actually physically turns on and off the 240 volt line, and it's controlled by either IFTTT, or if this then that, Amazon Alexa or Google Home. You can buy them normally on Amazon or eBay, etc. And this method only uses all low voltage lines, so this is sort of like around 12 volts. And this is quite useful for anyone like me who is a bit scared of running and fiddling around mains wiring. So installation is extremely straightforward. I'll probably put a few photos up here. Effectively, there are a few wires. Connect the red and black wire to basically a transformer that's already built into your Rolec home point. And then you take out the pilot line cable, or the pilot line wire that comes from either well, in my case, it's a tethered point, so it was a black wire. You connect it onto a junction box, and you replace that with the pink wire that comes attached to the board. In terms of the board itself, it is fairly substantial. I had a bit of problems trying to shut the box once I was finished with it. In the end, I actually put it kind of in between the contactor, the main contactor, and the RCBO. The thing is, it is already heat shrinked, which is just a little nice touch from Bill. So, but anyway, to be honest, the installation was fairly straightforward. Turned on the charger, and first of all, it didn't work. Now, the main reason why is there's 2 points that I probably should make now. First of all, you need to make sure that your MGZS EV has been updated from the December 2019 update for the smart charging fix, or else it won't work at all. I think there might have actually been a later software update, so if you've actually had your car updated after that, then I'm sure that your car's already had the update. The only thing I would say though is that from the driver perspective, there isn't actually a way of double checking that, so I don't know whether the dealer will be able to double check it, especially if you buy a used vehicle or something. Also, you do have to contact EV Energy to revert back to the original settings of your charger. So if your Rolec chargers already had a smart charging fix applied to it, so that's the trickle charging fix, you do need to make sure that they revert it back to the previous firmware in order to not trickle charge. This is what I was saying, so when I turned it on the first time, it was still trickle charging. They're more than happy to do so, actually. They managed to, I mean, their normal opening hours are 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and they managed to do it in, well, I think I got the email 9:10 on a Monday. I did do this over the weekend, by the way. So I'm not going to get into all of the technical details of why the board works. There are plenty of videos from Bill which are much better described than whatever I can do. But effectively, as you can see from the screenshot, the device works brilliantly. There is no trickle charging, so in this case I plugged in at 6:30 in the evening, and basically at about 2 in the morning, I double checked the charger and it was working absolutely fine. It was ramping up the charge. Now, originally I thought it wasn't working because it wasn't taking advantage of the agile rate, which I also put here. The main reason why it wasn't doing that was because the car was actually on 55%, so it really didn't need that time to charge up before being ready at 9 in the morning. I've set the parameters of 4p a kilowatt hour, minimize CO2 emissions if possible, and make sure the car's ready by 9 in the morning. But as you can see, it worked absolutely brilliantly, and all it needed to do was quickly do a top up about 1:30 in the afternoon, and then it was fully charged. So as you can see, it is actually switching the charging on and off, no problem at all. As I said before, I will enclose links to Bill's YouTube channel because he goes really in depth if you're really interested in that sort of thing, as to how the development happened and how the actual board works. But effectively what it does is it can switch on and off the pilot signal in order to wake the car up. So just sort of conclude, it works brilliantly. I put a link to Bill's email if you do decide that you want to buy a board off him. It costs about £20. As far as I'm aware, he's not really making any money from it. You know, it does contain a small Arduino in it and things like that. And I really want to thank him for kind of his help and support of me actually installing it, understanding some of the technical details behind it as well. You know, I'm quite interested in that sort of thing. But also in general for working on and developing the board for everyone. The fact of the matter is, he shouldn't have needed to do this. I know obviously at the moment due to COVID-19 and whatnot, I'm not surprised that development has stalled or not. But the fact is that the other manufacturers' chargers, okay, it might have just been a straight software update, and there are rumours going around that this is needing a proper hardware update from Rolec. But the thing is that they were able to sort out the problem, you know, within months, you know, a couple months, and that is fairly impressive from them. And I understand that this is a free charger coming from Rolec, but the thing is that this is not true smart charging capability. And there has been some arguments going around about the OLEV grant, the fact that every charger fitted from the OLEV grant must be smart charging capable, and this really isn't a smart charging capable charger, regardless of what kind of bodge fix that they add. But anyway, you know, the fact is the board works absolutely fine. If you do want to install one at your own risk, then, you know, it's fairly straightforward. He leaves, Bill left contact details, and overall, I'm very happy with the result. Anyway, so that's it. If you like the video, like it, dislike it if you don't, and thank you for watching.